This is my fresh review.
Hi everybody, welcome to 632. You are awesome. I am Brett Magill, and today we're going to talk about the Huawei P30 series. Last week I happened to be invited to the Huawei P30 series launch in, where was it? Johannesburg, Kyle, doesn't matter. Invited to the launch, I got shown the Huawei P30. I keep wanting to say P20. The Huawei P30, and it was actually not bad. You know, all things considered, and I had a bit of an argument with some people on social media about, oh, it's just a micro squishin better than the P20. And you know what? At first glance, I would normally agree with you. I'd be like, yeah, Huawei comes up with these new things once every 8 to 12 months, and it's their new flagship, and it's always the new flagship. And yes, normally it would just be an incremental increase. Back in the day when we had the Huawei P8, it was only incremental changes. The devices were fine, they were mid-tier, and they were pretty good. I mean, the Samsung and iPhone still had a carte blanche in the entire smartphone space at the time, but I mean, if you couldn't afford those, you could get a Huawei, and it was still a great phone. Now, the devices of the Huawei P30 series are just, they're sublime, and in my opinion, they really kick out Samsung from its South African top spot as one of the most popular cell phones in the country, or at least it will, in my opinion, pretty soon. You can mark me on that. I mean, that is an opinion and might not happen, but hey, I think it will. But it is coming in a bit more cheaper to your Samsung S10. More to that, the device comes with one of the most amazing cameras I have ever seen. Now, for me, I love photography. I'm an amateur, you know, but it's a lot of fun, and taking really amazing photos is something I enjoy. The Huawei P30, it just, how do you say, like, it has a 50 megapixel camera. It is 50 megapixels. What is it? Okay, correction, it has a 40 megapixel camera, but it's got a 50 times zoom on that, and I think it's up to 10 times zoom that it doesn't lose resolution, which is ridiculous if you think about it. I mean, okay, number one, what are you going to try and zoom into? It's weird, but I mean, the scale of this camera is ridiculous, and I know it's a bit of a gimmick for them, and a lot of smartphone manufacturers try and push that camera beyond that. But one of the interesting questions that was brought up in the media briefing was that what are you trying to prove with creating the best camera? And the tagline is always the best. I mean, Casey Neistat mentions it a lot, and a lot of videographers actually mention it quite often actually in their videos. It's like, the best camera you have is the one you have on hand, hence I'm using this ancient Canon. But like, it really is, and they're trying to be that. I mean, you don't always have a camera, but you always have your smartphone, and they want to be that smartphone that you always have. Pretty interesting logic, but I mean, it really shows. It's a 40 megapixel wide angle camera is their primary camera. Second is a 20 megapixel ultra wide camera, and then a 10 megapixel I always get it wrong. Telephoto lens camera. Anyway, telephoto lens camera, and combined, these things creates a ridiculous combination of imagery when you're actually sitting down and taking photos. Unfortunately, I don't have the device, so I'm just telling you my first impressions. It was a really comfortable device. My Huawei P20, it's a pretty decent phone, and it feels good. It feels like a smartphone, but what I found the P30 did, maybe trumps that, it's got these weird, interesting curved edges that it improves your grip on the overall device. Unlike other phones, which have started to feel very slippery, droppable smartphones, this actually feels like you're going to struggle to actually drop it. It has a grip, which is pretty cool. Apparently it is bezel-less. Again, I know what bezel-less means, but the whole concept of bezel-less, it's so irrelevant. I mean, do we really give a shit? I mean, I know a lot of people do, but whatever. Apparently it's bezel-less. Well, it's a pretty decent device, I have to admit. And I mean, if you're going to get something that is on par, maybe if not better than a Samsung S10 right now in this economy, in this market, yeah, I'd definitely buy a Huawei. I mean, why the hell wouldn't I? If we're talking about, I mean, Apple has essentially the space on, oh, I have an Apple and therefore I'm an awesome human being that whatever crap their brand does. But then if you're not going to be an Apple person, you're an Android human like myself, then you're going to go for your Samsung. It's nature. I had a Samsung in the past. It was that old flippy phone, you know, that thing. I don't know what this is. This is me flipping. The whole idea of Samsung was going to be that if you didn't have an Apple, you could get a Samsung. And I remember when they had, do you remember the Samsung Star? It was like their first awesome smartphone. Every kid So every kid. If you didn't have one of those, you had a BlackBerry. But anyway, I had the BlackBerry. You had the Samsung Star smartphone, and they've just always escalated from there. I think the next Samsung in South Africa is Huawei. They've definitely got the price bracket. I do have the price somewhere, but don't worry about it. It's affordable. It's roughly, for the top spec phone, it goes from like 13, 10, and then I think 8. I'll correct that in the description below, just for you. Sorry, I don't remember it offhand. But it's pretty affordable. All things considered, most cell phone providers in South Africa are currently providing the Huawei P30, P30 Pro, P30, and then there's a smaller version, the more budget version. I think, yes, they mentioned the P30 Lite was also going to come. So, you know, it's very affordable, guys. Like, it's very affordable. Why do you think I have this? Like, it's affordable. I mean, let's not screw around here. It's all about the money, isn't it? And this video is already going out late. I mean, you've heard of it. Yeah. Typical Huawei. They're really doing a great job in this front. So, kudos to them. Huawei P30, Huawei P30, Huawei P30 Series. Say that 100 times and see how mumbly you get. Huawei P30 Series also is essentially the launch of their entire ecosystem, the Huawei ecosystem. And it's still an Android ecosystem, and Huawei does claim that they've been working with Google very closely to ensure that integration with Android services is seamless and it works well with their systems and their engineering. They also released their new Huawei Matebook GT, which is a pretty okay-ish device. I mean, look, they're not... I think they're doing well on their smartphone front. They're doing well on the smartphone front, but their laptops and their tablets and they're there. I don't know if they're as good as a lot of the other competitors in their space, but they're cool. A note on Huawei's development long term. I did ask them about their dipping into VR, AR, and mixed reality technology, and very bluntly, the gentleman told me that they could potentially easily jump into VR and AR. It wouldn't be a problem. Their problem is that it wouldn't be a competitive step. There's no content currently on VR. Actually, that was the more important point he made. That there's no content on VR at the moment. So why would they go there when there's nothing there, if that makes sense? I mean, we all know that VR is very awesome, but it's still in its infancy. It's still where smartphones were when we first started. We first got the first iPhone, basically. And we're still going to develop over the next few years. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait until we don't have these anymore, and all we have is a small little pair of glasses, I guess. You know, like Johnny Quest. I can't wait until we have Johnny Quest. I always wanted Johnny Quest. So when VR does get to that point and there's mounds of content for other companies to start playing with and systems and operating systems, I can't wait. Someone needs to invent the first VR operating system for complete communications, and that'll come. But so when the content is available, Huawei says they will be stepping in there, but until that happens, they're not, and I can respect that position. Why would you want to go into a business or a industry where there's just nothing going on really yet? I mean, there is stuff. I did want to mention something. Huawei spent roughly, what does it say? $71 billion US in 2018 on research and development, which it's kind of difficult for me to wrap my hand around, if I'm honest with you. $71 billion US is a fuckload of money. I mean, fuck, can you imagine spending all that in 1 year on just R&D? But then again, how much money they're making? It's good to know that a company like that is actually actively participating in developing the technology, and it's not just copycatting everything. I mean, that was a big sentiment when Huawei first came to South Africa, is that it's just another copycat company, and why should we bother? It's the same stuff we've seen a million times, but turns out they won't. So yeah, guys, in a nutshell, that is my first impressions of the Huawei P30 and the Huawei P30 series. It's cool. I like it. I think you should have a look at buying one. If money was a factor, and it always is, I would seriously consider it. If you want a top spec phone for an affordable price that's not an Apple or a Samsung, this is a pretty decent choose, and the camera for me is it's really appealing. But anyway, guys, hopefully I get my hands on the device soon. I'll be able to give you a real in-depth analysis of the entire thing. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. I know a lot of people have watched this video and not subscribed, so help me, please. It really helps my ego, and it makes me feel good about life. I mean, I feel good about life anyway, but I mean, you know, in general. Just subscribe. It'll help me out. It'll make me feel good. So please, I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. Oh, and if you have any thoughts or questions, please leave your comments down wherever the comments are. and I will respond to them. I actually love engaging with people's comments and questions. I really do. So please comment by all means. And everybody, thank you for coming. Hope I've been in some value. I'm still trying to get the sign off thing right. I really am. But I think this was a good one. We got the sound right, I think. I hope. Does it sound okay? Let me know. I'd really like to know. Until next time. Cheers. That is delicious though, I'm not gonna lie. Give me a second.